Hey now. It is TJ. I want to make sure. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. I want to make sure that I'm live because y'all know I start talking the minute I know for sure that folks can see and hear me. So if you are here, let me know if you can see and hear me because I'm excited. Trying to see if I can go. Somebody talk to me. I see 4 people have jumped on. Somebody say something to me to tell me you can hear me and see me. I can't figure out how to get to. Let me see. Are y'all type? Is anybody typing in the comments so that I know? Because I don't see nobody typing. There we go. Demetria tuned in. Demetria, I'm assuming you can hear and see me, right? Right. Hey now. Somebody okay. So I see on my okay. All right. So for those of you who are new to how I go live, I waste no time. I jump right in because I like to respect your privacy, your time. So if you are new, which I'm not thinking you are, hey, my Christy Rowe. If you are new, Corrine says she can hear me on YouTube. Good. If you are new, hey, Dr. Latta. That even sounds strange. I'm going Dr. Latta. I'll never call you Dr. Latta. I'll call you Profel. I am TJ Mercer. I am known as the walking exclamation point and the chief noisemaker of Media Mavericks Academy, which means I teach authors, experts, coaches, and entrepreneurs how to book themselves in the media without a publicist and without being a celebrity. And I'm really good at it. That's the one thing you'll never hear me play down. I'm unapologetic about the gift that God has given me. Hey, Dawn, that God has given me of doing what I do. I love it. I spent 25 years working on some of the biggest shows on television. So if I know nothing else, I know story. I know how to tell a story. I was started out being trained by the best, which is one of my Howard professors, Dr. Judy Moore Latta, who is here. I got my start with her. And so I tell stories behind the screen. I tell stories in front of the screen. And I tell stories from the stage, and I tell stories from the virtual stage. So I love telling stories. All right. So here's the thing. I was on my walk the other day. So if you've been following me on social media, you know that I am preparing for my League of Extraordinary Storytellers Bootcamp, right? Hey, Ding Kane. And hi, Crystal. And it's coming up in Atlanta at the end of the month. I'm so psyched about it because I haven't done one in a couple of years. And I'm excited to be back in the room with my people. And we are going to cover, techniques of being a powerful storyteller who commands the stage regardless of where, if it's, you're doing a TED talk of, when I did my TED talk, of you're actually on the physical stage. But it's more importantly that you have a signature story. Okay, that no matter what circumstance, if you have to just get called on, hi, my Monica, I owe you something. I know it. I just remembered, but I told you not to let me forget. So it's technically your fault too. So I have a signature story that people love to hear me tell. I have several, but one is me taking my niece to Disneyland and she throwing a complete meltdown in front of all these people at Disneyland. If you hadn't noticed, I'm a Black woman that's dealing with a 2-year-old at the time, having a complete meltdown in front of a whole bunch of white people and everybody thinking I'm kidnapping the kid. But that's a story I tell on another day. And they like me telling the story of the day that my mother acted like she was drowning. So there's stories that people like to hear me tell because, it's funny and I make it funny. And because I'm preparing for the boot camp, which, by the way, we only got one more spot left. So if you sitting and waiting, you may want to pop over and make sure you grab your seat. We got one spot left. And because, when I'm doing stuff like this, regardless if I'm doing a media boot camp or my storyteller boot camp, I get addicted and it overwhelms me. And it's like constantly I'm eat, sleeping, and drinking, in preparation. So I was on my walk yesterday and let me share my screen so that you can see. Okay, so there we go. So I was on my walk yesterday and I was thinking about the techniques that I wanted to teach and to impart into my storytellers so they can be extraordinary. And I walked past this row of bushes. Hey, Fred. Hey, Delmar. Walk past this row of bushes. And I passed it and dawned on me like, wait, that was one flower, a purple flower sticking out in the middle of these bushes. And around the bushes, you can't tell, but around the bushes, there were, not weeds, but like leaves, because it's still, we're in winter. So stuff has not turned completely green and there's leaves and everything. And I'm looking at this bush. It hits me like, well, this is odd. This flower found a way to bloom despite the circumstances in an environment that typically you wouldn't have seen. So I want to show you, like, not far from these flowers, that one flower was this patch of flowers. So you would think, looking at these flowers, like, this is where this flower belongs. This is where this flower belongs. And so my mind gets to thinking, I'm like, that's a story tip. There's so many things that when I look at this, I can craft an entire story around this solo flower. I can craft a story around the purple royalty of it. I can craft a story and think, this flower, I would come at it from different ways. And so one of the things the first tip I want you to pick up on is pay attention to your environment. There's a story everywhere. My cousin used to tease me and say, you can walk up to a tree and that tree is going to speak to you in some kind of way, and you're going to have a whole story around it by the time you're done. So what I started conceptual, and I hadn't really thought about this anymore since yesterday. This is just me coming off the top of my head right now in the moment. So, I jotted down some notes right before I went live, and now I don't even know where I put my notes. Okay. So the first thing is, imagine, you're out walking and you're going on about your day, and you've let your mind wander to all the tasks you have ahead of you, and you're wondering how you have going to get over all the stuff that you have behind you. And so you're not really paying attention. Has anybody ever felt that way? That you're just going through life, not really paying attention, but then all of a sudden, a sight that shouldn't be there, there's an object that's not in its normal environment, just stops you. Do you see what I'm saying? Just that right there, I started telling you on the story, and I'm willing to bet you already are imagining yourself out on the walk. Now, if I had time, I would really unpack it. I would start telling you the breeze was blowing from the east, or what I was wearing, or if I was on the last leg of my journey, or something like that. I would then craft that. And then I would take it a little deeper. I would then go, and so you're on your path to wherever you're going, and you see this object that's not quite supposed to be there. But you stop and you look at the object, and you give the object a little more of your time. Let me get back to the original. Okay, so you can see that. Well, just pay attention to the big part, because I got messages for the other part. Well, hold on. I don't know why it's, hold on. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about it, because I'm not trying to be all technical. Just pay attention to the story. Just pay attention to the story. Hey, my Bonita. So you're going along and you notice this object that's out of position, out of place. And so it's got your attention, and you lean in a little closer, and you realize it's a flower that's purple, and purple signifies royalty. And so you're starting to wonder, has this little flower, let me mute my phone. I didn't realize I had muted it. Has this little flower been growing in the dark? And nobody has seen it's been growing in this dark place. It's down beneath the earth. But it's something about this flower's personality that lets it know that this darkness is not going to last forever. Is there something about this little flower that this little purple flower inherently knows it was built for more? And even though the little flower cannot see it necessarily with its own eyes, it has a sense that there's a light up ahead. So do you see how I'm still taking you on the journey about this purple flower, and the purple flower is full of royalty? Has anybody ever felt like they knew that they were meant for more, that they knew that there was royal blood coursing through your veins, and yet your circumstances, your environment, your current conditions don't seem to be primed for you to actually grow? So you see what I did there? Just all from a little flower. I know, Benita. I thought I had muted my phone, but I guess I didn't. So from that point, what hit me is the other layer to what could be the story is the fact that it's a little flower in the darkness. Now, because I am a Christian, sometimes I speak in churches. So then I would connect it to what God says about me. So then I would take it a little further and would be something like, so knowing what the creator, what God has intended for this little flower, even though the little flower didn't think that it could be anything else. It didn't think that there was a life outside of its own dark environment, but God knew what it had intended for this little flower to bloom in places that nobody thinks it should bloom. But as a result, because God knew how he built this flower, he built the flower with a strong stem. He built the flower with the nutrients that needed to be had. The God I serve then navigated the flower through the twists and turns of the bush. Has anybody ever had to go through you think some people say, now see, I could turn it to entrepreneurship. A lot of people who are not entrepreneurs think it's a straight line, but they don't understand that being a little flower, you got to curve and you got to twist to find your way through the bush. That's what this little flower had to do. And because God knew the plan that he had for the little flower, God navigated that flower of royalty, that flower that knew that once it breaks out, ain't nobody gonna be able to ever dim its light. And then as the flower, you get halfway to someplace and you recognize the fact that there's more to life. You don't stop. You start persevering because the light starts getting brighter and brighter as you're weaving and you are climbing up the branches. And then I would probably look at, and then if I dig through the flower and get to the the branches of the bush, I would wonder if I could see that very thing, that branch that was designed to hinder the flower, to prevent the flower to coming through, the flower used and wrapped itself around it and used the lesson of the curves, so that as the curves were thrown at the little flower, the flower stem was getting stronger as it kept accelerating up to the light. Are you seeing all that I'm from just seeing a flower on my walk? That's it. That's all this is coming from. The flower on my walk. Now let me show you something else. I'm sorry about all these noises, guys. I didn't realize that my computer. So do you see? I don't know if you can see it so good on the screen, but on the left-hand side, there's two flowers. So then my thought was, the first flower, that's you, Bonita. That's you, Delmar. That's you, Dean King. That's you, Dr. Latta. That's you, Monica. The first flower cannot quit. The first flower cannot turn back because there are other flowers beneath that are depending and watching the journey. So yes, once that first flower broke through, you see a double flower. I don't know if you can see it good on the screen, but there's 2 flowers. You see that second flower who knew that that flower could because he watched the first flower do it. Is that you, Tara? Are you designed to be the rule breaker? Are you designed to break through against all odds? Because you were just crazy enough to think, I'm not going to stay with the flower beds of all these colors. I'm going to go where God called me so I can stand out. And as a result of me standing out, I ain't doing it just for myself. I'm bringing others with me. So I'm paving the way because I went through the twists and curves. Now the flowers that come behind me, all they got to do is hook their train to my caboose. That's what one of my early coaches used to say, Lisa Nichols, hook your train, T, to my caboose, because I've already paved the way. So I just need to follow in your footsteps. That, my friends, is what I do as a storyteller. I'm always on the lookout. And because of my connection to God and my faith, I'm really always on the lookout of what God wants me to see for me to use. I'm always on the lookout for ways that I see stories in places that I then can turn into a keynote. I can turn into a talk. We went live at 5:15. I probably started telling the story at 5:17. I just did a 15-minute keynote right there. And I ain't done. There's layers to this because the keynote, the story is just cementing the points I want you to make. But they're going to be cemented better because you're going to remember the story and how you felt and how I ask you, have you ever felt this way? That life is throwing you curveballs and the very thing that was meant to hold you down or prevent you, God has shown you a way to navigate around it. You're going to remember that part. And then the other thing, let me see, there was other things I wanted. Oh, and also what I do is I keep a running list of my stories. So this will go into my Evernote. I use Evernote. This will go into my Evernote as one of my stories that I then can wrap. I can do it easily, a 20 to 25 minute talk, just using this one story. If I'm doing a 45-minute keynote or an hour-long keynote, then I'll have 2 or 3 stories. But I keep a running list of my stories, things that have happened to me. Some of y'all enjoy my pain of when I told y'all, I went live that day and told y'all I had set a fire in my kitchen trying to cook a bologna sandwich. Don't judge me. If you didn't know nothing about it, don't judge me. Don't be looking at me cross-eyed. But yes, nobody has ever said, TJ, I just love you for your cooking. That ain't never said, and I'm willing to bet that will never be said. So yes, I created an entire fire that had to have a fire extinguisher and whatnot to put it out. Now, you best believe I'm going to work on that story. I'm going to sit and get quiet and ask God, what are some key lessons I can pull out of it? And then when I demonstrate it live, I'm going to have people rolling like I had them rolling in the moment when I actually was off the cuff, just telling them what happened. I'm going to have them rolling when I craft it and really milk it for the elements that really puts them, they will be able to, when I'm done with that story, they will be able to feel the heat themselves on the fire. When I am done with that story and I tell them I came out of that room, big booty bucket naked, and had to determine if I was going to put on a shirt because the blinds were open, if I was going to put on a shirt or if I was going to put the fire out first, you best believe they will be rolling, but they will also be relating because I will hook it to something that they are experiencing in their own lives. I never tell stories. Really, Audrey, you had to bring up the lemon. Really, Audrey? See, but there's another story right there. Audrey was with me when I told the story about me falling on the lemon, which is why she's bringing it up. See, some of your Facebook friends, they don't just let you move past your past. But where was I? Audrey, you made me lose my train of thought. What was I getting ready to say, Audrey? You made me lose my train of thought. But yes, there will be lemons. There will be stories that come out of the lemons. Really, Bonita, hashtag teach TJ to cook. Really? Ain't nobody asking y'all for that. I'm telling you, ain't nobody ever gonna say we love you, Teej, because you just are such a masterful chef in the kitchen. That ain't gonna happen. But you will say we love TJ because she has us dying laughing over her stories. So let me think. Is there everything? Let me look at my notes that I jotted down. I want to make sure that I communicate to you guys. So move flowers. So no, how to, yeah. Okay. So the key points I want you to take away with storytelling is make it relatable. Like, I know that's what I was saying. I never will tell a story just for the sake of, well, that's not true, because some stories are just funny and I have no message attached to it. But I have a personal mission that if I go live, if I'm going to tell a story, it's got to be connected to something bigger. So even if it's just to make you guys laugh and have a good time, but more than likely it's going to be tied to some kind of lesson. So if I'm going to be falling over lemons or burning my kitchen down, trying to cook bologna in a cast iron skillet, I forgot that part. There's going to be lessons around it. And so that's my jumping off point. God, what do you want me to communicate to your people or to my audience, regardless of what audience? And let me tell you something. I have had all white audiences. I've had all Black audiences. And then I've had mixed audiences. I don't change. I'm just as crazy to the white people as I am to the Black people, because my goal is this, that we still find a common connection. So I may not say like the Kappa shimming on, on an HBCU campus to the white people, because they probably don't know maybe not know what a shimmy is, and they may not know what the Kappas are. So I'll find a different way to communicate that, but the message will be the same. Then the other thing is I would probably have shaped this around the acronym Bloom. I'm really the queen of acronyms. And I probably would have shaped my 5 talking points around the acronym Bloom. And so then the flower story is the anchor for Bloom. And so I actually could probably spend a good 40 minutes using the flower as the anchor with teaching and delivering Bloom. Are you with me? You with me, Crystal? And then the other thing that I do, I always practice. Even if I am gonna go live, I still will spend like 5 minutes running over how do I want to tell this. Like, even to be honest with you, even if when I write on Facebook, some of you know I'm a long post chick. I don't make apologies for that. Hey, Mount Patrice. And I write long stories because I'm a storyteller. And even I agonize on how I want you to experience it reading it yourself. I still want you to feel like you're sitting in front of me, hearing my voice tell you the story. So even I put thought into how many sentences before I do a double space. Because if the punchline, I needed to sit with it, then I don't need it to move into the next sentence immediately. I need that punchline to rest for a minute so that you can crack up or you can feel my heart. If I'm writing one of my hashtag just sharing my heart posts, I spend time as a storyteller, I won't say agonizing, but putting thought behind everything that I put out. Rarely do I just go completely off the cuff unless I'm doing like an impromptu thing. But if it's something that even if I have only 5 minutes to prepare, I'm gonna still run it over my head. How do I best deliver this so that it has the most impact? If I need them to feel my heart, if I need to feel them connected to me, if I need them to laugh, how do I deliver that the best? I am not a haphazard. Who is that? Who said, all I get is a Facebook user saying, have you always been a storyteller? Who is that? Tell me your name. Yes. Facebook user. I have always been a storyteller. I've always been a talker. My mother used to try to bribe me to come home from school without getting a note saying I talk too much. And I never had a full piggy bank because I couldn't do it. And I have been known to tell stories so well that I just make them up off the top of my head. and will have you totally believe in it. And my mother would have to be like, she's lying. Phoenicia, hi, honey. She's lying. So yes, I've always been a storyteller as a kid. And so it made sense that I would move into television to continue being a storyteller. So that's why I love that for several years. And now it makes sense that I tell stories, on the page, either through my books, my long Facebook posts, or from the stage. So yes. I've always loved just making people feel joy or feel some kind of connection. My job, as my assignment, my calling is to make sure God's kids feel loved and to love on his kids. And so I do that in a multitude of ways. And one of those is being a storyteller. If just for this moment, you may have no interest in being a speaker or being a presenter or do talks, but I bet you if you listen to the top of that story, then you would definitely felt some connection to me, just how I presented the flower. You either saw yourself that you used to be, how that flower used to be, or you're in that season now and you needed to hear this so that it connects. And then I always trust that God would then come behind me and plant in you what he needs to get out of you, that he just used me to plant the seed. So that has always been my approach. And I don't run my mouth for the sake of running my mouth. Not these days. When I was little, yeah, I just love to talk. But when you guys allow me into your heart and into your space, it is my desire to always bring elevation to you. And I never want you to leave my space feeling the same. So with that said, let me think. Just give me a second. Let me just think to make sure I dished out every tip. And if I'm doing this in the media where I only have 2 to 3 minutes, I still will try to figure out how I can tell a 2 to 3 line sentence about my client. So say for instance, I'm doing a podcast interview. I may not tell a full story, but I'll tell a story about one of my clients and how what I do in the world helps my clients because they did X, Y, and Z. So for instance, before Bernadette came to me, she had never done media. And now, she's doing 25 interviews. I don't have to coach her anymore on her confidence. But before, she was holding on to my hand. I would figure out some kind of way to make it interesting, even in a media interview. I'm always looking for that connection. Any questions? How about that? How about we got any questions before I jump off? Oh, let me put in if you are interested in spending 2.5 days with me live in Atlanta, I am going to be doing my League of Extraordinary Storytellers Bootcamp, 2.5 days, March 26th through the 28th. I only have one spot left. There was a spot that was snatched about an hour and a half ago because people know I don't play, and I don't know when I'm going to be doing it again, but it's 2.5 days in Atlanta. Not only are you getting me live, but you're also going to get a virtual group session with me after the event. And then some people are actually getting another one-on-one with me. And my one-on-ones with me by themselves are $19.97. My sessions for coaching you one-on-one. But not only that, I'm also giving you access for 3 months into Media Mavericks Masters. Gotcha, Bonita. 3 months in Media Mavericks Masters. And that's my DIY signature publicity program where I teach you how to book yourself without a publicist and without being a celebrity, and you will rock your interview. So all of that is coming into the League of Extraordinary Storytellers Bootcamp. So I have one spot left. I only took 7 people because it's intimate and we're in the trenches crafting your story. So I need to keep it intimate. And then also I was going to keep it intimate anyway, because when I do these, I only limit 5 to 7 people, but we're in a space. Hi, Bonita. We're in a space that holds 30 right now. So plenty of room for social distancing and whatnot. But yeah, and there's payment plans available at that link at pimpyourprnow.com/LXS2021. Again, I don't know when I'm going to do it again, but so I got one spot. The first 5 spots went just like that because people know. But if you want my help on really taking, your signature story that, that's the other thing I want to teach. So my signature stories, the ones that are in my arsenal that I know people love to hear me talk about, I typically can tailor it to any subject matter. I'll figure out the lessons that this story, with me taking my niece to, to Disneyland, I can tailor it to my media expertise. So when she wouldn't let go of the steering wheel, and that would be me with my clients of trying to convince them, hey, my Roz, me trying to convince my clients that they can indeed do media. So I just need to let them get the steering wheel so I can get them to the place of doing media with confidence. And then I can actually use that same example and saying that there's some things that we hold on to so tightly that God has better for us, but we're not willing to let go of the steering wheel so he can guide us. So a lot of my stories also are designed so that the signature story is still the foundation, but the lessons may change based on the audience. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't matter if you are doing full-blown keynotes from the stage or you're just doing a talk to, the realtors. Like one of my storytellers, she came to the first boot camp because she presents to her realtor association and she wanted to be, more commanding of that audience. So that is why she signed up then. And then I will say that I used to call it the Legal Extraordinary Storytellers Retreat until my storytellers started telling me that retreat was misleading and I was tricking them because I work them too hard. And this is a boot camp. So that's how it ends up being called a boot camp. So let me go answer your question, Bonita. How do you go about creating different versions of a story, 5 minutes to 15 minutes? I drill it down to the most powerful parts of the story. Like, going back and using the flower example, I may not have described what, for a full-blown keynote, I may take you to what the weather was like and what was happening and describing my environment to give you more time to really put yourself on that walk with me. And then for, maybe the 20-minute talk, all of that comes out. So it just gets down to the bare essentials. And then for the 5-minute versions, I just keep stripping away at it until, you think about it just like a TV show or a movie trailer. So you got a 2-hour movie that a trailer is only 2 minutes, 2.5 maybe. So they're pulling out just the condensed, the most powerful parts of the movie and tying them together in a cohesive storyline so that it gets you on board. So a 2.5 minute trailer will get the audience to go buy, $20 or $15 movie ticket, $20 when we go into the movies, for them to go see the 2.5-hour movie. So it's just a matter of really just kind of just pulling out the fat of the story to keep getting it down. And I will practice it all kinds of ways. I will time it because if I'm big on, as a storyteller, if you give me 15 minutes, I'm not doing 15 minutes and 5 seconds. I'm doing 14 minutes and 50 seconds to give you time to do a standing ovation. I'm giving you time to love on you some TJ after I'm poured all of my heart onto the stage. So I will, in preparation for a talk, I will practice that talk. I will practice the 8-minute version. If I'm doing an 8-minute, I will totally practice it to make sure I stay within time. And even then, if I know, let's say my talk is 8 minutes, I will practice it being 7 minutes to give time for pauses, or because I'm also the type that rarely do I ever stay on the stage. I'm always in the audience connecting even more with people. So I need time to, navigate and love people and touch them and, just be with them. So I always, typically, if an 8-minute talk, I'm coming in at 6.5 to, leave room. The only time I have exceeded that is when I did this show called The Round, and it was on Centric, which is now BET Her, and is think of as TED Talk for Black women. And I was assigned a bona fide national TED Talk speaker, and we had timed that talk. And the day that we recorded it, neither one of us expected for me to get as many applause breaks as I did. So that talk ended up being like 11 something minutes because they kept applauding. And, but that talk ended up moving me from episode 5 to bringing me to being episode 1, which in TV world, being the premiere episode it says a lot. If they were willing to lead off the series with me, it really says a lot. So that is the only time I've exceeded time. And I didn't feel bad about it because my TED Talk coach, because she knows TED format, she had approved what I had done. And then the producers weren't upset at all because I was apologizing as soon as I realized how long it was. I was going to the producers because I'm in TV. So I understand, the concept of, how important time is. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And they were like, no, girl, honey, no. As many of applause breaks you got, no, you fine. But other than that, Bonita, I make sure I stay to time. Monica says, I desperately need this new book loading, but won't be able to this time. Yep. Gotcha, Monica. I would love to do it again in the year. I just don't know if my schedule is going to allow that, but hopefully, maybe this is something I can do every quarter, but I can't guarantee. What else? Anybody else got questions before I say goodbye and get back into my lab? Hope this was helpful of how you need to be paying attention now, and you can turn a story into anything. You could be talking at the water cooler. You could be talking about what happened when you were driving. Bonita says, please do it again. If I have enough interest, I will, Bonita. Let's see. Okay, that's it. That's all I got. I'll count it down just in case you got any questions. And again, there's one spot left for this round of Pimp Your PR 2021. There's payment plans available. So you can always take advantage of that. And no compliment means more to me than my professor. So thank you, Dr. Latta. Wonderful tips. Thank you, Profel. Delmar says, this was great. Thanks for dropping these diamond gems on us. You're welcome, Delmar. All right, so I'm going to count it down. So if y'all have any other questions, keep typing. And by the time I get to 1, I would have answered everything. In 10. Love this. My hubby and I need to tell our story. Well, I'm the storyteller. There you go. Where was I? 9, 8. You're most welcome, Crystal. 7, 6. And if it's not for you, I wouldn't be opposed. I'm gonna actually share a graphic in a few minutes. I wouldn't be opposed to you sharing it with your people if they need some TJ in their lives. Did you ever use and if so, how did you get rid of them? Yes, and I still kind of use when I'm thinking. I don't use when I'm doing a talk that I've prepared. But the way to use is get comfortable in the silence. Are used mostly when you are uncomfortable in the silence. And so I would practice just putting my tongue at the top, and Lisa Nichols taught me this, putting my tongue in the roof of my mouth and not saying anything. Make the silence work for you. And see, like now, I could have easily filled that with a because I'm thinking, but now because I'm demonstrating, I'm, conscious of it. But just be okay with the silence. That's what's happening. You're looking, hey, my Crystal, you're looking to fill the space. You're looking to fill the silence. That's why you're coming with the Lawanda says, I've been doing sometimes this, but did not realize there was value in it. There's always value you are really good at noticing things that would normally go over everybody's head. Do you realize that Storytime with TJ Christmas edition ticker? No, Bonita, why you just not telling me? I think because I forgot to hit say. Why you just not telling me? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. That's so funny. No, I didn't realize. And all y'all, Monica, LaWanda, Crystal, all y'all on my hit list now. Y'all let the wrong ticker be playing the whole time. I can't believe that. So, well, I did put a description in the post. So hopefully then people know. Anyway, I don't know. Where was I? That ain't me. If you're going to have me out here looking, Jenkins, Bonita says some people don't like to be corrected. Bonita, really? From what you know of me, would I have had a problem with that? With you going, T? Don't act brand new, Bonita. Really? You just let me be out there. Audrey says, I thought you did that on purpose. It be your own people. It be your own people. Just be. Delmar says, I saw it and just thought you were. I can't stand none of y'all. Prophet says, I thought it was planned. It's always. I can't stand none of y'all. Y'all just let me be out here crazy. That's like not telling me lipstick was on my teeth. All right. So I had to think about what y'all punishment is going to be. I don't know where it was. 6. What was I? 6? Part of your storytelling. Crystal says, I thought she was being extra. No, it was me being human and making a mistake. 6, 5. I could have stopped sharing my screen too. 6, 5. Crystal says, I saw it and didn't care. Okay, so Crystal trying to get back on my good side. That's what that is. Crystal trying to get on my good side. She said, I saw it and didn't care. The info is golden. Whatever, Crystal. You could have still told me. Don't let that happen again, Bonita. If you know it ain't matching what I'm talking about, say, tease. And then I'll be like, no, Bonita, I meant to do it this way this time. So Delmar says your diamond drops outweigh the Christmas words. Ross said, that's why I stayed on. Thought you would get to the Christmas edition. No, Ross, there's no Christmas edition. Now I feel like I misled you guys. All right. So, I forgot. I got my calendar just notified me. I got another meeting. So I got to go. Where was I? 6, 5, 4, 3. LaWanda said Christmas bushes. I could have figured out that it was still there, but by that time we were wrapping up, so I didn't feel like figuring it out. 2, 1. I love y'all. Y'all make me laugh. Thanks for just turning it on me and making me laugh. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, that's it. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye.